It took me 7 years to say this. I'm finally starting my clothing brand. I always felt connected to fashion. My mom was a seamstress and she would create custom clothes for me and my brother growing up. I was able to pick my own patches, to pick my own prints. At that time, I didn't really realize how special it is to wear something that she made. And the best thing was, nobody at school was wearing what I was wearing. I'm not saying they wanted to, but But at that age, it wasn't fashion that interested me. It was basketball. I started playing basketball when I was 9, I think. And at that time, my favorite player was Allen Iverson. For me, he was more like a superhero than a basketball player. He was super dominant on the court, but he stood out off the court as well. The way he carried himself, the way he dressed, his tattoos. For me, he was the coolest guy on the planet. And I wanted to be just like him. I started wearing baggy jeans, white t-shirts under my jerseys. I even pierced my ears so I could wear diamond earrings just like him. A year later, I collapsed in church. I was unconscious for 6 hours and I spent the next 3 weeks in a hospital. Eventually, I got diagnosed with a heart disease, which meant I couldn't play basketball anymore. I also couldn't do any physical activities, not even in school. I felt broken. I felt disabled and I just didn't feel like myself anymore. So I turned to the only other thing I enjoyed, and that's drawing. I would spend hours and hours sketching monsters, sketching superheroes, designing my own basketball shoes. For me, drawing was escaping reality. I went to my own imaginary world where none of my problems existed. But where I grew up, creativity and making art wasn't seen as a useful skill, a skill that could get you a real job. So I did what I thought was practical and went to study electrical engineering. But my heart condition did get better though, and I started playing basketball again. At that time, our captain and our best player was a graphic designer. He was probably the first person that I knew that was making a living by being creative, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So I dropped out of electrical engineering and went to study graphic design instead. I learned how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, and I started designing my own t-shirts. I found this print-on-demand service called Teespring, and I ordered a few t-shirts. I loved it so much that I wanted to take it further. So I saved all my money from just working summer jobs and I invested it in my first batch of 150 t-shirts, custom made. But when the t-shirts arrived, they were nothing like the sample I received. And I got scammed. I trusted a person that I never met and I paid the price. I told myself that this whole starting a clothing brand thing was too risky and not for me. So I jumped on every safe job opportunity that came my way. And I've built a nice career in graphic design and illustration. But 90% of the work I do is digital. And I want to feel the things that previously only existed in my mind. I want to create something tangible, something I can hold in my hands.
Once again, welcome on board Malaysia Airlines flight MH4 from Kuala Lumpur.
And so, after traveling and working remotely for the past 2 years, I'm back home. I'm going to turn 30 next year, and a question that always bothered me was what if? What if I had gone all in from the start? So, I'm going to invest a year of my life and my savings into giving this thing another chance. This time, I'm going all in, and I'm documenting all of it. So if you want to see what kind of ideas and concepts exist in my imaginary world, tag along.